So, one of the biggest challenges many folks face when they're trying to get their health on track is that they try to change too much too fast. Now, I often say nothing changes if you don't change. So, at first, that may seem a little bit conflicting, but let me explain. As humans, we're wired to strive for comfort, not necessarily health or thriving. Now, this is just one of the reasons why diets set you up for failure, because your nervous system will always tend towards directing you back to comfort. Dieting is not comfortable, right? To add fuel to that fire, most of us get to a tipping point where we are just so sick of the things that we do that we decide that we have to uproot everything all at once and call ourselves into a full-on life change. Enter New Year's resolutions. And our intentions are good. We find a gym that we might want to join. We find maybe a 30-day diet or a 20-day diet to do. Maybe you decide to stop drinking alcohol and stop the nighttime snacking, which are all awesome. And sometimes the answer is to shake your tree of life from the root and start over again. But this is the point. And if you're watching this before the New Year resolution gets hold of you, then you'll be miles ahead come January, come February, than if you followed the same path of the New Year's resolution goals. Because when you try to change too much too fast, you're required to really dig into willpower. It takes a ton of energy to resist all of those things that you're used to doing and that are comfortable. And then also to engage your inner motivation or external motivation, rather, to get to the gym. Eventually, willpower runs out and you fall off the wagon because you're tired and your tank is empty. Your nervous really wants you to let go of all of these restrictive requirements and just go back to the easy way. This, in fact, is when the mind can start playing some serious tricks on us, right? It can start telling you that you don't really want to lose that weight or get healthier. It sometimes tells you that you don't actually need to change anything. And for some of us, it tells us that it's not really self-love if it's hard or if it makes us change anything about ourselves. And this is the number one lie we tell ourselves when things get hard. And this is self-sabotage coming in fierce. We know what happens then. The feeling of defeat sets in, the feeling of failure sets in, the self-talk can get kind of mean, and suddenly you're right back to where you started. And this is like the yo-yo diet trap in action. In my program, we work with 3 dials that over time become your best friends in creating a long-term sustainable relationship with your body and your health. The art of the dials lies in listening and observing your particular body's requirements. Many of my clients, like Dana, who got herself out of pre-diabetes range in 7 weeks, lost 18 pounds, and finally felt like she could go on vacation without freaking out about whether or not her clothes were going to fit. When you learn how to work with these dials, they suddenly feel incredibly empowering. It gives you the feeling that you have the ability to shift and change along with daily life while also staying true to your health journey. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 dials and ways that you can start tuning into your own health system right now. You don't even have to wait until January. I've simplified them for the purpose of this class so that you can more easily begin to incorporate some of the concepts on your own. The 3 dials are food, fasting, intermittent fasting, and movement. When these dials are working together, you're able to work with your body and life and adjust in ways that allow for the curveballs of life, but also they help keep you on track. Each body and system has its own balance of these dials that work for them. For example, My body responds to diet changes really quickly. If I've been in a place where I've really not been paying too much attention to it or being a little bit lax in my decision and food choices, and maybe holding more weight than it does when I am in more of a mindful and intentional stage. But once my body releases that first wave of excess through diet changes, then I really have to rev up my exercise in order to make any more progress. If I'm not running, my body knows it. Some bodies respond to exercise right out of the gate, and then they can dial in their nutrition to further their goals. And then some other folks actually need to focus on relaxation and stress relief techniques in order for their adrenal glands and their nervous system to recuperate, and cortisol levels can come down enough to even allow for their body to turn towards health. Increased cortisol in our body gives the message to hold on to weight. It tells the body we're in crisis. And so for some folks, coming into a place of stress relief, coming into a state of peace can really help trip that cortisol switch so that their body can then begin to understand, it's okay. We're not running from a tiger. We can start to let go of some of this weight that we're holding that's keeping us out of balance. And then there's some bodies that truly, truly need a very middle way balance of all three of those dials. So getting to know your system very intimately takes awareness. It takes time and it takes patience. But once you understand how to listen to your body, then you'll know how to use these dials in any way that you need to, no matter what is coming up for you. So the first dial is food. When doing a diet, there are several levels in which you can engage with the requirements. Now, diet culture tells us that if you don't do the diet perfectly, then you're not doing it right. And this mindset puts a ton of pressure on you and always contributes to the burnout effect. This dial helps you decide on any given day where you want your level to be. So, for example, the dial turned up to 8 or 8 to 10 means that you're following the program nearly exactly. You plan ahead. You are dedicated to following the advice given by whatever diet plan you're given, and you adhere to it. If you have your dial put between 6 and 8, it means that you're mostly following it. Let's say 60 to 80% of the time. If your dial is set from 3 to 6, it means that you're kind of being mindful. You're watching a little bit about what you eat and you're listening a little bit, but it's not the top priority on your list. And then if your dial is at 0 to 3, it's just kind of showing that you're not really engaging with your nutrition or what you're putting into your body in terms of food. And sometimes this dial is at a 0 to 3 when you're on vacation, or when you have family in town, or when you go to have dinner at a friend's house who's making you a beautiful meal and you want to fully be present with them and not be one of those people that say, I'm sorry, I can't eat that. I often talk to my clients about the concept of the 80-20 rule. And what that means is that if you're following a food program about 80% of the time, and you leave 20% of the time to be a little bit more flexible, then that inherently builds in a little bit more longevity than trying to have the dial turned up to a 10 the whole entire time. As we've already discussed, dipping into your willpower reserves is a very sacred thing. Willpower can give out and the tank can empty and run dry. So knowing how to move your dial on any given day for any given meal can really help you build in sustainability and help you feel like you're not in food jail all the time. What I find over and over again to be helpful for folks is for them to consistently know that they're in the power seat, that they're not a victim of a diet and that they have choice at every single moment. One of my favorite clients of all time, I remember her saying at the beginning of our work together, she said, "Oh, I feel so bad. How come I don't get to eat the pizza? Why don't I get to eat the pizza?" And she very much felt like a victim of choosing not to eat pizza. And you fast forward 8 months, and this particular client has lost over 60 pounds, is completely out of the daily pain in her knees and in her ankles that she was originally feeling. And she feels so liberated. And she said to me most recently, "I don't even feel bad that I can't eat the pizza because sometimes I decide to eat the pizza." And sometimes just this mindset and the flexibility can help keep self-sabotage quieted and keep you on track. So if you're on the road to health, then consider what level makes sense for you. What can you stick with? And what works for your life and your family unit the best? The second dial that we're going to talk about today is intermittent fasting. There is more and more research coming out every year about the benefits of intermittent fasting, and I continuously find it to be the number one tool that nearly all of my clients find to be a game changer for them. It's not for everyone. There are some contraindications listed for fasting. For example, if you're pregnant or if you're a nursing mom, if you've been diagnosed with full-on diabetes, if you have any neurological conditions, or anyone with a history of disordered eating or severely restrictive eating. I always recommend that you check with your doctor before trying any diet and also before trying something like intermittent fasting, just to be sure that you have a medical professional's clearance. The benefits of intermittent fasting are numerous. It helps balance your blood sugar. It helps your hormones come into a better balance, hormones like cortisol, and the ones that actually signal the message that you're hungry or that you're full. It highlights emotional eating patterns so that we can see them more clearly. It's been shown to help gut health issues. It starts the body on burning stored fat for energy. It helps you maintain metabolism. And it also helps you avoid plateaus if you're on a continued weight loss journey. It also skyrockets energy and releases the feel-good hormones of dopamine. I often say to my clients, listen to your body, not your stories. And intermittent fasting is a seriously incredible way to learn about your body and get more deeply in touch with its actual needs. And it doesn't have to be hard. In fact, once my clients get into the swing of what they're doing and how to do it, they're almost always surprised at how intuitive and how easy it can be. So 12 hours is the minimum for your body to be able to recover from digesting food. It's the recommended minimum amount of time to fast in order to let your body heal and let your body sleep well and give your digestive system a rest. Your body begins to find balance and the health benefits start kicking in after 12 hours. Anything above 12 hours begins to enter the realm of weight loss. So if we're thinking of intermittent fasting in terms of a dial, if your dial is dialed up to an 8 to a 10, that would often mean that you're doing consistent fasting every single day, something above and beyond 12 hours. So for example, many of my clients who really are interested in digging into the intermittent fasting want to dial up their fasting knob to the 8 or 10, and they start doing a regular 16-hour fast with an 8-hour window, eating window. They also like to mix in a 24-hour fast or a 20-hour fast a couple of times a week. That's pretty aggressive. It's a pretty aggressive fasting schedule, and it has immediate results. Gives immediate results when you dial the fasting knob up. However, having your fasting dial sitting on an 8 to 10 on a regular basis is not sustainable. And I would say the health benefits start to become a little bit more arguable. If you have your fasting dial set from a 6 to an 8, that could mean that you're focusing on doing maybe a 14-hour fasting window with a 10-hour eating window, or a daily 16-hour fasting and an 8-hour eating without mixing in the longer fasts. Having your dial set from a 3 to 6 might look like you're dedicated to fasting 12 hours on a regular basis so that your body can recover, and you're focusing on fasting from a health perspective, not necessarily a weight loss perspective. So you might fast intentionally daily 12 hours, and you might mix in a 14-hour fast every now and then. If you have your dial set from 0 to 3, it means that you're not really intentionally fasting, that you're just going through the natural flow of what you would normally do, of not eating after dinner or maybe after your nighttime snacks, and then eating breakfast when you wake up. If you've never fasted before, or if weight loss is not part of your goals, then I really recommend just starting with 12 hours. Aim for 12 hours. Stop eating at 7 p.m. and wait until at least 7 a.m. to break your fast in the morning. Again, just fasting for this amount of time gives your body an incredible chance to pay attention to some of the things in your system that need attention, need healing. It gives your digestive system a much needed break. So pick your dial and just go slow. Stay curious. Listen to your body and hold the space for all of the stories to come up about how and why you shouldn't be doing it. One of the things that many of my clients share with me is that they're surprised at how much food they actually don't need that they were eating prior. And one of the beauties of intermittent fasting is that during your eating window, there's a sense of freedom to be able to make choices with your food from a medicine perspective of getting nutrients into your body during your eating window. But there's also less pressure to restrict macronutrients or entire food groups. So intermittent fasting is yet another way that you can build in and create sustainability in your health journey and help keep you out of the feeling of being in food jail. The last dial is movement. And when many of my clients start working with me, they're under the impression that they have to work out the hardest they can for as long as they can in order to get their body to start shifting. And I would say that this is a little bit of an old paradigm, an old way of thinking that's based on the idea that weight loss is only about calories in versus calories out. So if you're taking in 1,500 or 1,800 or 2,000 calories, you have to spend more than that in order to lose weight. And that is an absolutely oversimplified explanation of how the body works. And what most of my clients are surprised by is that they don't actually have to do that at all. They don't have to go to the gym and spend an hour and a half, 5 or 6 days a week. Because when all three of your dials are working together, you don't have to work out for hours. They work together for you. It doesn't take an hour and a half in the gym or a super hot yoga room in order to give your body the motion and movement that it needs in order to stay balanced or get balanced and get healthy. What most of my clients begin to embody through the process of our work together is that they finally start exercising and moving their body more from a health perspective and for joy than for weight loss. And this in and of itself can be so liberating compared to that old paradigm of feeling like you have to do an extreme workout routine 5 to 6 days a week. This style is about finding more than one thing that works for you, so that no matter if you are in a place of dialing up your movement or dialing it down, you are set with choices that keep you in motion and also keep you in joy. Moving our body brings us joy. It moves and energy through us. It expresses who we are. And I'm a big believer that movement should be tapped into the dedication to health and the dedication to joy. Body presence is a part of that. And body presence is the practice of just being with your body without expectation, without goals, without judgment. And I find that this part of it is absolutely key in building that deep and lasting relationship with your body. I remember one of my clients sharing with me that when she was playing competitive basketball, that she was in the best shape of her life, and yet she would still look at her calves and think they were too small. And so she would work out with this intention of growing her calf muscle. And while there is a place for that, if bodybuilding is your thing, what I'm trying to say here is that when we back up, we back up our vision into more of a bigger picture idea of what it is that we really want for our life and for our health. It's that we want to experience joy. We want to experience feeling powerful in our body. And it's when you spend time moving and really feeling your body that you can deepen that relationship with it and better listen to its needs and tap in to a deeper, bigger river of joy. Because one thing that I know is that we can move through a yoga routine or stretch our muscles or lift weights or whatever and still not be present with our body at all. The issue there is that we have a goal to get into this pose, to build up our calf muscles, to open our hips, or to get the fat burning range going for our cardio exercise. But it doesn't mean that we are at all present with our body. So I recommend making this part of your commitment to be truly present with your body and yourself as you begin to learn about your own dials. Don't get caught in the old trap of just wanting the quick fix without building a new way of being. The point of the 3 dials is to allow you to have more flexibility and learn about your system so that you can better care for it as time goes on. Because the truth is that you shift and change. Life shifts and changes. And so should you, and so can your dials. Their beauty is that they keep you from falling into an all or nothing mindset. They keep you from having to rely on the expert of the moment, the expert of the fad diet, or whoever it is to tell you what to do and how to care for yourself. And they put the power back in your lap. If you know it's time to make some serious changes and you feel very motivated to start seeing some shift in your body, then really get curious about how you can set your dials in a way that will begin to move the needle in the direction that you want to go. However, remember that what is not sustainable is having all 3 dials revved up to a 10 for an extended period of time. If you want to give this a shot, but you have a bunch of questions, just reply to this email. Let me know. Let me know where you're at, what your curiosity is, and how I can support you.